Hi, everybody. It's your girl, Amanda Lockhart Davis, host of Life Uncensored, Navigating Adulthood one episode at a time. I am so glad to have you here with me today. We've got some great guests, and we're going to be talking about women working together under women's leadership and debunking the myth that women cannot work together without being catty and women can't work under other women. These women, I am very proud to know. I worked with them and was their manager at one point. So we are going to have a ball of a time today. Definitely chime in, put in your comments if you'd like to. And we're going to have us a great show tonight. So bringing to the stage, first and foremost, Miss Randy Raphael. She's a dynamic 39-year-old marketing manager hailing from the vibrant city of New Orleans, known for her fun and funny personality. I call her Rainbow. So if you hear me say Rainbow, that's because that's what I call her. Randy brings a unique blend of imagination and quirkiness to everything she does, a devoted lover of God and an enthusiast for the color orange. She has a zest for life that is truly infectious. Randy is passionate about the economy, enjoys exploring good eats, and has an ear for good music, topics that generally get her going. Her creative spirit and deep rooted values make her a standout in both her professional and personal life. Let's welcome Randy.
Hi.
Hey, Rainbow.
Hi, Amanda. Amanda, I'm naming my daughter Rainbow.
Yes, please
It's
do that. I started calling Randy Rainbow probably a month into our working relationship because Randy is just like, she just reminds me of like a flower child from the 60s. Like everything's cool. Don't worry.
yeah.
And so she's always been my rainbow, just happy. And that smile, I mean, that says it all. That smile
Oh,
right there.
thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you
So
so much.
next, we are going to bring our good friend, co-worker, confidant, the other golden girl of the group,
Yeah.
Heather Partonen. Heather is a dedicated counselor at the Charles County Department of Health behavioral the behavioral health division, where she provides compassionate care and support to her clients. A hardworking mother of four, Heather is committed to achieving a healthy work-life balance, a journey she is still navigating as she explores the importance of self-care. When she's not helping others, Heather enjoys the simple pleasures in life, such as long walks on the beach, savoring a well crafted cocktail, and spending quality time with her friends. Her blend of professional dedication and personal warmth makes her a standout figure in the field of behavioral health. Welcome, Heather, everybody.
Hello, hello.
Hi,
All the love.
Heather. Heather, our mama bear of the group,
Yes.
Yeah.
and I'm gonna just leave it there.
It says it all. It really says it all.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thanks for joining tonight, Heather.
Thank you for having me.
And we have, last but not least, not at all least, my fellow Sagittarius, Tia Grant. Tia is a smart working wife, a bonus mom, a proud grandmother of three who is on a journey to discover her true purpose in life. As a seasoned financial analyst, Tia plays a crucial role in supporting the executive team in the hospitality industry. Beyond her corporate responsibilities, she also owns One Slice LLC, a cottage bakery renowned for its custom baked goods and treats, and they are also delicious. Tia's dedication to both her professional and personal endeavors showcases her unwavering commitment to excellence and her passion for creating joy in every aspect of life. Let's bring to the stage Tia.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, Tia. All of my girls are here in one place. We work together for a hospitality management company. I don't even know how many years ago now. and we have stayed close throughout. We've always stayed in contact with each other. We've been at weddings, we've been at birthday gatherings. We always chime in and check on each other, tell each other what's new, what's going on. And these ladies on this screen that you see right now debunk the myth that women cannot work together without being happy and cannot work under women leadership. But I have a surprise for you. Are you ready?
Let's see
Maybe.
what it
Oh
is.
no.
Okay.
Good surprise. It's a good surprise.
You
I am going to tell you this. I worked with you guys in what we all know was a very tough environment. We had a lot of challenges thrown our way. Each day we didn't know what we were going to get, but we managed to do it all together as a team. But there was one person who helped me to do that, and that's Miss Julie Rogers.
Oh my God!
You finally let the old lady in.
Oh my God! I am
Always.
so
Are you
happy to see you. This was
Julie,
amazing.
how are you? You look amazing.
Oh, living the dream. I'm actually doing task force, so this is not my setup back here. I have switched over to contract work only. I'm
Oh.
63.
What?
She keeps telling me her age. I keep telling her to stop lying.
Yeah.
Oh, 43.
All I heard was 3.
I have to say, I think I'm probably the shyest of this group.
No,
You don't know
Julie.
that about me.
No.
The most reserved, maybe, but not shy.
Right, reserved, not shy. I agree with Tia.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, reserved.
Oh, my cheeks hurt.
No, it's good to see you.
I have been working on this
So-
surprise for you guys for months, and
Oh, wow.
I am so glad to have all of you on my podcast. I'm so glad to have all of you guys in my life. You have been a joy, not only in my professional career, but in my personal life too. You guys have just been a joy. You know, I love sharing good news with you. I love sharing my trials with you because you guys are so encouraging and you always are just right there, like rooting me on. And I feel like we do that for each other. So I'm glad to have you guys all here in one place. I hope you like your surprise, ladies.
I loved it. I loved it.
So
This was
good.
perfect.
Memories. Gosh.
We're all in different places, but all, you know, man, we have come through some stuff, haven't we?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
let's jump
Real-
right into this, right?
I just quickly want to say, Heather, I'm thrilled that you followed your dreams on your career.
Thank
Mhm.
you. It
What you
was
wanted to
difficult.
be,
Yeah.
I'm sure. And
Thank
then
you.
Tia, I hear that you're in Treasury now.
Yeah, I am.
Mhm.
Yep.
She's over there trying to figure it out.
Tia's video is
Uh-oh,
not
Tia,
moving.
we can hear you, Tia, but you're
It's
frozen
stuck.
on us.
Oh, what about now?
No, don't worry. We'll work it out.
Okay.
Don't you worry. So let's get into it, right? We're here to basically debunk the myth for the masses that women can't work together without being catty, that they can't work under leadership of women, and that, you know, there's no such thing as women working together and getting the job done and getting the job done right, you know. And I want to say firsthand, when I joined this group of ladies, because I was the last to join this group of ladies on the job that we worked on, they were already, in my opinion, a well-oiled machine in terms of how they work together. You know, you guys, there was never a time where if somebody was finished something early, that you guys are just like, okay, well, what to do now? You always jumped in to help each other every time. Or, hey, I've got a few minutes. Anybody need anything? You need help with your checks. You need help with your posting, whatever. You guys were always right there. The other thing I loved that I saw was that you used each other as resources. Oh man, this is happening on such and such. What should I do about it? I don't know what to do. Oh, you know what? When I dealt with them, this is what we did. This is how it worked. Da, 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 da. You were always just there to support each other in any kind of way. And that was really refreshing for me to walk into. I didn't have to come in and rally the team together to get the job done. All I had to do was worry about the job and make sure the job got done. So that was awesome for me. And as far as Julie, because Julie was my manager and I was these three ladies manager. As far as Julie goes, it was refreshing to say, hey boss, I was thinking, we should paint the sky green. And oh, okay, sure, let's see how it works out. Worst case scenario, it doesn't work, we go back to blue. Like it was just, you just let us fly. You let us fly, and that was also very refreshing for me. So what I want to pose the question to you guys, and whoever wants to chime in, go ahead, is was there a situation where you realized, oh, I got a woman manager, a female manager. How am I going to navigate this? Or was it just, okay, I got a manager? Like, did it matter to you at all?
Be honest, you won't hurt my feelings.
It did.
No, I think gender never mattered to me. I think I found Julie very endearing, and I really needed that as a little transplant from New Orleans with no family. So I needed that motherly figure. And I think when they were hiring Amanda, my first thought wasn't, oh my God, not a woman. My first thought was like, she is strict. I drive strict people crazy. Like I was so like, and like strict people hate me usually. I don't know how we're gonna get along. I was pleasantly surprised.
And you didn't drive me crazy, not even a little bit.
You one of one. Everybody else, I've driven nuts. So I never thought about gender. Even when we did when Julie left and we added a male to our team, I never thought about gender, just more so the temperament of the person. And maybe that's what helped us not be so catty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can agree with that. I think that that's also part of it too. Like when you're really not, when you don't care about that kind of stuff, how is there room for cattiness?
Yeah.
Like how? Yeah. Anybody else want to chime in on that one?
I will say I did worry for a split second, only because of past female supervisors. When they were in moods, had to walk on eggshells. Sometimes it was an all-day situation. You just kind of avoided them at all costs because, whatever the case may be, personal drama or personal stuff, medical, women things that we go through. Mm-hmm. For a split second I was, and there were moments, Amanda, you were definitely, okay, we're going to walk on eggshells, but it was different. It wasn't all day. It wasn't avoid at all costs. It's like, okay, there's something going on. Give her a minute, give her space. She'll come to us. It's fine. It is what it is. Mm-hmm. We all have moments, moods, days. Mm-hmm. So once I learned that about you, that it was like, okay, you're not a typical, walk on eggshells, avoid at all costs.
Yeah.
Then it was fine. It was good. I don't think I really worried either overall about, gender. But there was definitely some PTSD from previous female supervisors in my past. Avoided at all costs when they were just in a mood, in a snit, in whatever.
No, I think that's part of it, right? Because I think you hit the nail on the head. At the end of the day, we all are people and we all have whatever's going on. There's stuff that's going on that, like for example, there was things going on with Julie that I'm sure I wasn't privy to because of the level that she was on. And then same thing, it trickles down, right? There's just certain things that you're not privy to that's going on with the business. But that doesn't mean that there's anything personal against you. It doesn't mean that, oh, you better watch out, like guns are blazing. It's not that. It's just like, y'all, we got to get this done. We got, hey, such and such is coming down on us. Management's coming down on us. This has to happen. We got to buckle down and head forward, and we got to get it done. And then once it's done, all right, y'all. So where we getting lunch?
Right. I miss so much of those different places. Oh, more memories.
I'm older than all of you. Not a lot of you, all of you. And when I came into my career, my mom was a stay-at-home mother, and she didn't really understand the whole thing that I was doing. And I have to say, way back then, there was a lot of competition. I think because women were really starting to get their stride. And I always felt like women, it was almost like women against women. And I would say something to my husband. I would say, I don't know if it's just me that's feeling this way or what. But one day in the newspaper, I opened it up. A whole page was about women working against women. And I was like, it's not just me that's seeing this. What I have seen since then is a lot of improvement. I now see women that share their knowledge. They're highly intelligent. They have empathy. They want others to have work-life balance. One of the things I thought of was when Heather asked if she could take a class during the middle of a day or in the morning of a day each week. I mean, that's not a big deal, right? And I think, and I could be wrong, men probably get that too, because I have worked for some really great guys. But I think we understand those things well, and it's not such a big deal. Like, we're going to help each other get to where each person wants to go. And I really like that. I will say that I have worked for two incredibly difficult women. One was when I first really got into hospitality at a timeshare, and she was a AAA personality. And one day she said, Julie, I'm having problems at home and at work with relationships. So every time you see me do these things, tell me to put a dime in the cup. Well, after I told her about 4 times, she said, you don't need to tell me anymore. But all right, super difficult to work for, but what do I have to say about her? I'm still in contact with her. I'm still very grateful that she opened up her knowledge base. I mean, I really credit her for sharing her knowledge, because there's been a lot of leaders that could have taught me so much, but they held it close to the vest. But the women that I have worked with have shared. And I really credit them for that, because, a lot of people are afraid to do that. They're afraid somebody else is going to take their job or whatnot. But I also learned from a gentleman in the car business. He was the controller, and I called him about 6-7 years after I worked for him, and I thanked him for teaching me how to be a good leader, because he always had an open door policy, and no question was too dumb. He was never condescending. He was there for you. He gave you the tools that you needed, and it really helped me try to craft my leadership. I'm definitely not perfect. I wish I had more emotional intelligence. I'm not as tough as I'd like to be. Not tough towards other people, but when the hits are coming, I'd like to be able to let them rebound off a little easier than I do. But it is who I am. I'm 63. I'm not going to change. I am who I am. And, I think I'll save what else I have to say for the next question.
No, but you hit a very good point, that, and I think it still exists, maybe not as prevalent, but still that there's always this competition, you know, with women, that you got to be better, you got to be stronger, you got to be quicker thinking, you got to be whatever the better is. And that's, and you can't lean on somebody else. You can't show weakness. You can't show vulnerability. You can't show that you don't know something. Otherwise, that knocks you down a peg in some form of fashion. And that's something that I think is still happening today. Again, maybe not as prevalent, but that's something that's very real. And so you get these women, because we're talking specifically about women, I think it's men and women, but since we're talking specifically about women, I think you get these women who just feel like, if I don't show strength the way the men do, then that knocks me down peg. I won't be able to advance. I won't be able to grow. I won't be able to get whatever, you know, what they're getting, and blah, blah, blah. And then there's no real way to strike a balance. But when you know who you are as a person, I think that's what makes the difference. Like when you know, yeah, I'm an asshole. I can be an asshole, but I don't have to be, right? Once you have that mentality and you know who you are, you know, I'm strong here, I'm not strong there. And then you have people who are encouraging that. I think that's what makes the difference. And I think that's what made the difference with this group, with this little group here, is that, you know, we all had our strengths, you know, we all had our weaknesses, but we also were very candid with each other. I'll use that word. I'll use the word candid. Like we would have talks and be like, listen, this is what needs to happen. And it went both ways. It went both ways. It wasn't just manager to employee. It went both ways. And it was open dialogue all the time. And we like freaking kicked butt.
Yes.
We did.
Yes.
We kicked butt because of that, you know? So that's my 2 cents as far as that goes. But what I want to know is, does anybody remember, and I'm sure there was a lot of, you know, we've got stories for days, but can anybody specifically remember something that happened to us on the job, you know, project or otherwise, that just ended up being very successful because of myself and or Julie? So I'm asking the 3 ladies, Randy, Heather, Tia, was there anything that sticks out in your mind? Oh, I remember we were going through this, or we had to do this, and Julie stood up for us, or, you know, Amanda came up with this idea. Is there anything in your mind that sticks out?
Well, you know, I have a mind of an elephant. And I just remember, Julie and Heather, like we would stand up for us, and the line around the office became, "Get your facts straight."
I remember that. Yep.
Yes.
So there was many instances.
Was that a Juliism?
Yes.
It sounds like it.
Yeah.
That was your line, Julie.
I have to say, it always felt like a getcha, gotcha moment there. Like, you know, you felt like you had to keep, you know, your proof that you did something, which wasn't the most enjoyable part of the job.
I think we spent a lot of time defending ourselves, and not just in our department, but we spend a lot of time defending ourselves, which takes away from the production of the work. And that can be very discouraging and exhausting at the same time. So I feel as though that we would have been more successful if we didn't always have to defend ourselves.
So like if that was the plate to have to worry about, just plain old getting the work done, no matter how hard or difficult the situation, you feel like that would have excelled the team even more so? Yeah. And that kind of sucks that it was like that. But you're right, the amount of defending, because Joe Blow down in Dallas would say, "Oh, this didn't get done." Yes, it did. And here's the email proof that you responded to saying thanks for doing it. You know, it would be
right.
I have to say, this group right here has to know all of the email storage secrets, because better than me, because I don't know how you guys would always find those emails so quickly. I really do not.
We
What
had
is the
no
secret?
choice.
I mean,
We had
no, I don't,
to.
no, I'm 63, so I'm moving past it.
I remember something
I should
had
have learned a few
escalated.
years ago. I should have called up.
I remember something had escalated to like, let's say the highest of higher ups. And I just remember Tia walking past my desk with a stack of papers of emails this thick. And I'm just like, where is she going? She's like, I'm going to defend myself.
Yes.
I still do not throw anything away to this day.
Right.
Oh,
You will
there were
not.
certain people you did not want to see come around the corner because you were like, oh no, where's my defense paperwork?
Yes.
Was it really that
true.
thick, friend?
I have to be like a defense attorney.
I once wanted to be an attorney. I would have conversations with my husband and was like, I was going to be a lawyer. You don't want to argue that with me. I'm sorry.
Right.
I think that was one of the best parts of working with you guys. I literally, and Julie, she's right. I literally can be like, hey guys, such and such said such and such happened in July of 2020. Can you, yep, hold on one second. All right, it's on the printer.
I don't know what the secret is. I mean, my brain doesn't work that way. You guys had everything so organized.
They had some secret filing system for that kind of stuff.
9 times out of 10, it was probably a traumatizing task that you just couldn't forget, and you will never forget. As soon as I didn't do what? Oh no, because I remember what you said. Yeah, it was.
I can tell you what I had on that day. I had a
Right,
red
are
bow.
you ready to go to lunch? Because I gotta talk freely.
I remember that was on August 2nd of whatever. You brought a pink slip, and I learned to get my answers really quickly.
Oh man!
I mean, it was, yeah.
And then Heather too. Heather would remember things from like 8 years ago, and she legit would be like, "Yeah, is that the day that such and such went into labor?" And you're like, "We had taken up." Like she would. Yeah, Heather was good for that too.
Yeah.
Had a bunch of elephants in the room.
We had to. We absolutely had to. I will say, to be honest, the morale of the AP department was never as high, probably never higher with this team ever, before and after.
Oh wow.
We just we were finally respected, and that was the big key. We knew what we were doing. Everybody could respect that we, the CYA was real. We knew what we were doing. We didn't do anything that nobody approved, but you wanted to act like we did it willy-nilly. Oh yeah, I feel like spending $1,000 on that water bill just because. I mean, we treated those hotels like it was our bank. We treated it because we knew the consequences. So and so would come down on so and so, would go on Amanda, and then Amanda would come to us, and then Julie looks bad and blah blah blah. It was a mess.
Yeah.
But when we had the collectivism of us and the respect for each other, and the weaknesses, the strengths, if it was a bad day and you didn't know and you were crying in the corner, it's like, all right, well, Randy and I got you, Tia, and Tia, you got me and Randy, and Amanda's got all of us, and Julie's got all of us. I mean, it really propelled everything. Our dreams felt real. We felt respected. We felt part of a team.
Yeah.
I'm glad to have been able to bring a little bit of light to that place, even for a short while, because I saw just how
more than a little bit.
I saw it immediately. It did not take any time. I saw it immediately.
Right.
It was such a sigh of relief after the initial start. Was like, oh gosh, how long is she gonna be here? What is she gonna have us do? Everybody has us do the same thing with no results, and you guys know that will run me up a wall. Like, I need to see some results. Don't keep having me run like a hamster on the wheel.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think it also goes to like a message to businesses, which is staff your staff. Like you see all of
Yeah.
us on this call, it took all of us to make the job easier as well
Mhm.
as have, some sense of pride in your work and no woe or regret when you're trying to just do a job,
Right.
Yeah.
But if it's like, I remember one time, I think it dwindled down to just me and Tia because Heather was on maternity leave, and I forget what else happened, but we ate McDonald's every day because we were so stressed out. And Tia hates McDonald's.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Stressed.
Yeah.
So we
You
need
Mhm.
know, when
support
I
really
think of
important.
this team, um, it's similar in a way um, with this team when I was with MCR Hotels. We were on the full service side, we were all trainer types. So we shared so much information with each other that people could just, keep moving instead of, okay, now I got to figure this out. Now person two figures out person three. No, we were sharing. So you saved a lot of time. But our group, I mean, obviously a lot of intelligent women who are trainer types, but it goes so much further than that. Good people that actually care about others, care about the success of the job, would actually watch for the cues, like cues from their coworkers, like something's going on. Um, it could be something really subtle. You guys would just pick up on it. Hey, do you need help with that? Hey, I know something about that. And it was different. In the most stressful of times, it seemed like we could just laugh about something and just, I mean, let's face it, it pretty much was stressful all the time. When you only get $5,000 to pay for a full service hotel for the week, I mean, what does that cover?
Mm. Mm.
Yeah.
You giving me
So
flashbacks.
the team was dealing with a lot of disgruntled vendors, not
Yeah.
due to the team, just due to the situation.
Yeah.
And but
Yeah.
it was a really interesting dynamic. But I would say that all of us are trainer types,
Hmm. Well, I
and
think that was
we
it. I think, like you said, everybody wanted everybody else to be successful. We wanted our team as a whole to be successful and to be viewed as successful by those who didn't understand the nuances of what was going on in our tiny little world. And I think also understanding that, let's just face it, back office functions, we are the forgotten stepchild. And very frankly and very selfishly, I'm going to say, with accounting, including AP, being the absolute bottom of the totem pole in terms of that, because everybody just thinks, oh, you just pay bills. It is so much more than that.
If
I mean,
only.
we're dealing with taxes at some point, unclaimed property,
Oh.
1099 processing. We have to deal with the vendors that the sales team, the marketing team worked to get, but they didn't tell us, oh, this guy's a jerk. So, especially on Tuesdays. So we have to figure it out for ourselves and then work around that and then determine whether or not, I think one of the biggest challenges that I had as a manager there was remembering that I was at work. Because there were times where, I remember being in a meeting and one of the hotels talking to us like they lost their mind. And I remember dismissing you guys from the meeting and then saying, let me be very clear. Damn this job to hell. Don't you ever talk to anybody that I know like that ever again. I will never tolerate that. And after that, sunshiny and blue skies, all of that. Like everything was great. I mean, everything was great. We had no problems, but the fact that I had to do that multiple times because that was allowed. I'm doing air quotes on purpose. That was allowed, was just not okay. And the fact that I could be like, hey boss, I need 2 minutes to scream and cuss and yell. And you'd be like, come on in, shut the door. And I would scream and cuss and yell. And you'd be like, hell yeah. And then all was well. and I would leave out and I felt great. But I had to, so I was allowed that as well. So it's a testament to who we were as people and who we were, individuals, and who we were as people as a team, I think. And one of the toughest places I worked at, but one of the best experiences in terms of working with a team.
Yeah.
Big time. Without question.
Yeah.
Without question.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was devastating when everyone left.
After
Bit
you
by
left,
bit
Heather.
by bit. It was like, are you kidding me? Come on. I can't take anymore. Tia, you're never leaving me. You can't leave me. And then the only reason I left Tia is because I had a baby. I swear to God, that was the only reason. It was like, I would have come back, but
it was easy to see everyone go because everyone was going to do better.
Yeah.
But I'm all for follow your dream, follow your heart, because that's where you'll put the most effort into. But after Heather left, when Julie left, it was like, okay, we'll get through this. Amanda's still here. Then Amanda left. I was like, oh my God, if this place goes back to what it was, I'm gone. And you guys know I'm very loyal. Then Randy, she got promoted, so I was happy. But then, I was happy.
I was happy too.
And then Heather, she left and had a baby, and then decided to follow her dream. So I went into a mild depression. But when Randy left and moved back to New Orleans, I went through. It was really hard for me because it didn't feel like work when you have someone there that supports you and that considered your mental health and where your mind is at the time, like, because those things are important. I remember a couple of times I came past Heath and Amanda was like, okay, don't go back to that, go take a walk and come back. She was very big on taking time for yourself, with yourself, and that work-life balance, because I have never had a manager who was like, you got all this vacation time. I need to see. Hey, look, you need to put in your time. Where's the PTO? I'm like, gosh, I gotta think of somewhere to go. I don't have nothing to do.
I remember one conversation. I fussed at you so hard. I said, "Listen, Heather, I don't care if you sit on your couch and scratch your butt all day eating bonbons, but you're taking some time off." I remember that. And you're like, I did. And go tell HR. And we laughed and laughed and laughed.
I was like, well, I gotta find something to do. But I did. And it was well worth it. Now, I see what it's like, because after you left, I almost went right back into that, but then I was like, no, I'm going to work hard now because in 2 weeks, they're not going to see me.
Yeah.
So I know this.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Julie.
This person did not work in our team. But I remember when we were rolling out Alti Pro and they did not listen to us, that the employee ID had to be very long because we had several different food and beverage outlets. And because they were separate, then the other side of the team, their third party, they set them up with 3-digit, which was very bad. And we were going into payroll week. And this has happened to me twice in my career, specifically with women, where I said, what are you doing tomorrow, which was Saturday? And they said, I'll be there with you to fix this. I can't say I've ever. I'm sure there are men that would do that, definitely, but it's the women that stand out to me, that above and beyond. But I did want to talk about that that workflow system because we had those critical AP things that were always popping up. I want to say Cisco. Everybody's screaming.
Yeah.
Cisco. But anyways, so I find this. I find this work order system used by people in maintenance, not used by accountants, and I go to Amanda and I'm like, she's going to think I'm crazy, but do you think that you could, do a flow chart and come up with a way to use this for these critical payments? And by George, she did. Yeah, she did it. I don't know if it ended up being helpful or not, but I just felt like we got to a point where there's just so many critical vendors.
And we couldn't keep them in the we couldn't keep relying on the emails, because remember that time our my whole email system crashed, and I feel like one of you guys, it was the same time, and everything was gone. And it was like, we can't keep using the email. We can't keep using the email system as the reliable source of information when it comes to critical stuff like that. That needs to be the backup. And I remember getting burned by that freaking email system.
Yeah.
Big time.
Right.
And I feel like it happened a couple of times, but definitely that one time in particular. And Starbucks was.
Well, yeah. Y'all are trying to trigger us.
You're hurting me.
Poor Heather. I wouldn't touch
hold
it
on,
with
I
a
gotta
10-foot
take my
pole.
Xanax or whatever it is.
I need something stronger than my water if you keep talking. Just saying.
Poor Heather. Poor Heather.
Well, what I was
that
saying
little
is
blue pill?
Huh?
What were you saying, Randy?
I would say, Julie, we talk about gender, but I remember like that you were like our senior vice president at the time, or a vice president at the time. And I remember you getting introduced around the office by a certain someone, and that person would always demote your role. And I remember you having to correct them several times.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, and it was like the first time I was like, is it because she's a woman?
Mm-hmm.
That would just boil me up, and you graciously.
It boiled all of us up. I was angry for you, and you were just so pleasant about it, and I always admired that about you, because I'm ready to rip somebody to shreds in a second. As much as I don't want to, but if I do, it's because I've been pushed beyond the limit. So.
Yeah. I think that's what was good about
like
us. We wanted to defend each other, and we wanted to protect each other. And it did not matter, manager, not manager, whatever. We wanted to protect each other. You said what to Amanda? I thought you were talking to you.
Hey.
I was like, oh, thank God Amanda's talking to him.
Yeah.
I would just hear her eyes be like, oh, it's all good.
Yes.
It's like, breathe.
I remember Amanda always having to stand up with me for CapEx.
Oh God!
Trigger words.
Yeah. CapEx.
I look at her face. I'm so sorry.
Even now.
Yeah.
And your friend would roll around the corner to come and talk to me, and I could hear his footsteps. I knew it was him specifically.
Every day it was like 4:40. He was right at 20 minutes to 5. Amanda's not going to let me stay after 5 o'clock.
Right. We're getting into
Because if it was
overtime.
that urgent, we would have known earlier in the day. So apparently it's not that urgent.
Yeah.
So good luck. Like, I remember saying it to him one time. Good luck.
I remember that conversation.
But
Like,
he
she
probably
was
had a title that he, could get what he wanted because of his title. Because I remember one time me and him and Julie were in the room talking about whatever. He wanted something. And they had to do a CapEx. And when Julie pushed back, I was like, no, that's not how this is. No, we're not going to do that. But we can do this. She was offering alternatives. And then he went, well, I'm a VP. And Julie sat back in her chair just as comfortable as that. I'm a VP too. And he had there was crickets. What comeback do you have after that?
Oh,
Like, stop
I
throwing
do
your
remember
title
that.
around.
I do remember that. That was rare for me to do something like that, but it
He
needed to be
pushed
said.
you. He pushed you, yeah.
Yeah.
In my head, I'm like, checkmate.
Oddly enough, I could deal with that better than Starbucks. Sorry,
what?
Heather. Starbucks. I was not touching that property or that with a 10-foot pole. I couldn't do it.
I think
Mentally,
Randy must have had. I think Randy and Heather must have had freaking nightmares about freaking that property and stuff.
Oh my God.
half of mine. Yeah, half of my hotels was just.
I think we had the hardest ones, huh?
We did. I feel like we did. Well, they were all hard, but yes, like Julie said earlier, you know, the full service, we have $5,000. I mean, the management fee was 10,000. So the math is not mathing
at all.
Yeah.
And yet you have the Cisco, the Starbucks, they're yelling, they're screaming, they're going up the chain. It just,
of course.
Oh yes, up the chain, and then the GM gets involved, and et cetera, and it just, oh God, yes, yeah.
The chain.
Stories for days.
Now,
Stories
who
for
was
days.
it on the team that sang for us all?
Which one?
Say that again, Julie.
For us.
She's saying somebody sang at one point. Who was that?
Definitely
I
not
remember.
I can't sing.
We had
Well,
a
it's not
song.
me. I'm like the second alto. You don't want to hear me.
I don't remember that because I would have used them to change the frequencies off the tender.
We did have a singer, but it was after us. It was after us.
I think it was at the tail end of us. We had a singer.
We had a singer who.
I remember her. Wow.
Was it a
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And she could really blow, but she should have stuck with the gift that God gave her.
Didn't she move to another country or something? She moved out of the States, I believe. I think she was from somewhere else. I don't know. I don't know. I have a lot of memories stored in this 63-year-old brain, so who knows?
She keeps trying to convince us that she's
Julie.
63.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, saying it over and over is not going to convince me.
Drink,
I'm sorry.
You're putting your coffee. Just FedEx a lifetime shipment, whatever it is.
Exactly.
I keep seeing 43, but sure, 63. I will go with that.
Whatever. Yeah. If you say
I just keep hearing 3. It's not
3.
Just
I hear 3.
I've never been hung up on age, to be quite honest.
That's true.
That's probably the secret to it all, because a lot of people are like just so hung up on it. I'm like, it's so much more to life than to be hung up on how old you are,
Right.
or a title.
Or a title.
Titles change.
And maybe also think hard before you get into hospitality accounting. I mean, I hate
that
to say
part.
that. It has gotten more difficult since COVID.
Yeah.
It has. It's almost like, okay, we reduced the staff. Now you guys proved that you could do it during that time, so we're going to leave it that way. Because I can remember when I first started in the business, I mean, first started, I was at a Days Inn working part-time, and they had a full-blown GM, a full-blown assistant GM. They had a part-time accountant. You don't have all that nowadays. The GM is doing everything. And then, I look at these accounting offices. They've gone from 5 to 3 to 2, some cases 1, for full service hotels. People are burnt out. A lot of people did not return after COVID to our industry, to this industry, because, and it's not just accounting.
Yeah.
It's hospitality.
Yeah. I, for one, think that you can't learn hospitality. It really has to be a part of you.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people go into titles and jobs for the money and just the title of the respect. Well, I'm this and I do this and I make this. But you
Right.
cannot fake being hostile. It really has to be a part of you. And if it's not a part of you, it can either do one or two things. You're going to drive everybody out or it's going to drive you out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's not for the weak. Like it's definitely for the thick-skinned. Like you got to be able to
Yeah.
take a couple of punches here and there, a couple of kicks, a couple of push downs. Like it definitely is not for the weak. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah, I was talking to Catherine Keys, who we used to work with. Hey, Catherine. And she gave me the best quote. She said, "Function in chaos and finish in style." And I was just like, I love
Ah,
Wow.
that's
I love that.
nice.
Wow.
It's
I love
nice.
that.
Finishing
I
style.
like that.
yes. But emphasis on the function in chaos because
Right.
Listen, ladies, we are going to take us a quick commercial break, just about 1 minute. All right. We are going to be back. We want
Okay.
to continue this conversation. We want to talk about how we just continue to maintain a positive and productive working relationship, even through the chaos, as women who aren't catty, who genuinely care for each other and care about getting the job done and getting it done right. So we'll be back in just a moment. Take charge of your financial future with our interactive workbooks, The Basics of Financial Literacy, A Healthy Money Mindset, and The Basics of Financial Literacy, A Healthy Money Mindset for Teens and Young Adults. Now available on Amazon. Dive into practical exercises and start building a solid financial foundation today. Jack's Consulting Services. Business solutions for all industries. Tailored solutions to fit any size. Check us out on the web, www.jax-consulting.com. Set up a free consultation and see how we can tailor our solutions to your needs. That's www.jax-consulting.com. We can't wait to see you. All right, and we are back. We've got Randy, we've got Heather, we've got Julie. Tia's on her way back. I think she's here. There we go. We've got Tia. And I just want to say we got a comment here on from a watcher on YouTube. I love the way that you all give each other their flowers. So that's what we do, right? Like I gush over these ladies every time I get a chance. So it just kind of is what it is. So let's talk more about what we did. Like, I don't feel like there was any one specific thing that we did in our group to maintain our positive atmosphere and our positive and productive working relationship. But what do you guys feel like was the catalyst? Like, what was it for us specifically? Because we've all worked in different groups, different teams, women and whatnot. What was it for us that set us apart? What made it different for us? What do you think that was?
I think it was because we're all genuinely the type of people that just want to help and see people do better. Like, um, especially, well, for myself, like when you go through things in life, and if you're a good person, you just couldn't stomach watching someone go through things and not helping them. Like you wouldn't be able to sleep. Your conscience will dig at you. That first and foremost. Um, and it's very rare that you get a whole group or a whole team with that type of mindset.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
I agree with that.
Definitely.
it was just basically like kismet, like the perfect combination coming together. Um, I have fond memories and life, just milestones with each of you guys. And I get emotional thinking about like, oh, like reminiscing, like it was deep, and it was a blessing for sure because it's not always like that, as you know.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So let me ask you then, because as you guys alluded to earlier, we all kind of left one by one or whatnot, little by little. But what was that like? How did that change after we left? Did you all encounter, maybe we've got a new person on the team and this person's catty? Or, was there any like, oh, you guys are making faces. I don't know. Maybe I should change the question. I don't
We'll go with the resounding yes. Yes, we did.
Okay.
Yeah, that chemistry,
no.
it really is a one-off, not a one-off, but it was just, after that, it just never got back right.
I left butt prints and footprints in both of their cubicles, for sure. And I think I ate all Heather's snacks.
If nothing else, find candy.
Right. Yeah.
Well, what was it? Was it personality
That's the
type?
secret.
I think it was personality and morale a lot of times.
Yeah.
More so personality, though, because I think we had women who came in who were ready to embrace, and then I think the newer people had that mentality of how we all discussed at the beginning, like, oh, well, it's a bunch of women. It's going to be catty. It's going to be a problem. And then so they manifested it essentially versus,
Wow.
coming in and just seeing we all get along. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we're raising Heather's child together.
Those are our children.
That is our baby.
Yes.
Yes.
Like, this is,
And I will. We didn't have the same care and commitment to the job. Yes, for all of us, it was a job. It was to pay bills. It may not have been the end all be all career, but we respected Tia's decision to learn and grow and get her bed and breakfast, which is going to happen. We're manifesting it.
Yes.
Taking those skill sets to your pastries, which are amazing, by the way. I recommend them all day long. You were able to grow and do marketing and take the accounting stuff and grow with it. We didn't have that coming in. It was literally, this is my job and I got to do it and I'm here and ta-da. It was such a difference. It was such a difference. I mean, the energy was blah. The chemistry was ridiculous. I really felt strongly with the energy with every person. When I remember interviewing you, Randy, I just had an interview either before or after you. It was not the same connection. I could have talked to you all day long. I wanted you to like go to brunch. I wanted to like go out with you separate from work. I wanted you to come to work. When I met Tia, it was like, oh, she's my girl. She's so cool. I love her. It was just like automatic. It wasn't forced. It wasn't fake. It wasn't, all right, well, we got to work together. Might as well be nice to you. But with everyone else that came in after, I felt like it was very forced. There was no natural vibe. It was, you have a different agenda and we don't have that same agenda. And maybe it was because they were female. Maybe it's because they, like Randy said, assumed we were female. Therefore, there was this cattiness.
Like a preconception.
Right. There was definitely an agenda, even with the interns or the temps. It was an agenda, and it was just too much. It was just way too much after the core group kind of dispersed one by one. Yeah, it was hard. It was hard to kind of navigate that.
Yeah.
Without becoming catty ourselves, without becoming that,
like falling into it with them.
Yeah, or going back at it with them. Oh, you want to go to my boss? Well, I'm going to go to my boss too. She said. Did you notice? I mean, nobody has time for that, but you felt like you needed to defend yourself against their agenda and cattiness and BS.
Wow.
Yeah,
and it was exhausting.
I understand it was. I remember one specific time we had a coworker. This was before Randy, and I did not like how she was talking to Heather. And this is when I was sitting in the payroll office and I was doing both
Yeah.
both jobs. And I'm like, I don't want to hear this. And then you're being so mean towards her. I marched right around to the HR office. I was like, somebody better go and get her before I do because I can't concentrate.
Yeah.
And I was like,
That's so Tia.
and it was like, and because
All right, Tia,
I,
you just identified something else. The strength. The strength of the people on this team.
Yeah.
yeah,
But
because
to have
go
the
ahead,
strength
Julie.
to be that courageous to go and do that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
wow.
and it's so not like me to do something because I'm very much mind my business, and if it don't bother me, I'm not gonna bother it. I just come to do, and you guys know my motto was, I see you more than I see my mom, my siblings, my nieces and nephews. So we gotta get along. Like you're not gonna make this because we have to be here. All of us have the same goal,
Right.
which is to feed our families. So I was never into just work banter. I can't. I'm not that type of. I'm a lover, not a fighter, but I will fight. I will fight. And my mom has cursed me with the gift of ignorance, not like not knowing, but I will ignore and block you completely out as if you don't exist. And some people,
Oh gosh.
I just don't. But before I portray myself in a way that is not very ethical or in center of morale, I will ignore you. You don't exist. So
I think that was part of that was our niche. Like we would defend each other to the death. Like, no, you're not fitting to. You no, we don't do that.
Right.
And I think part of that was we did not part of it. It was that we just genuinely cared about each other. We definitely were able to say, okay, this is work, but we cared about each other as well. Like we were invested, you know, um, in each other, just on a personal and working basis. We wanted to make sure that everybody was good because the other part of it, which I don't think gets talked about enough, is right. There's the whole happy wife, happy life, right? Happy coworker, happy work. Like when everybody is feeling good and doing well, we can't control what's happening personally, what's happening outside those doors. But once you cross that threshold into work, when everybody is feeling good, feeling confident about decisions they have to make, about things they have to do, their assignments and all of that, and everybody's getting along, you feel good about the people who you are working beside, that you're in the trenches with. That cause and effect that causes happy work life, right?
Right.
Because there's going to be crap. We've dealt with crap, right? But being able to deal with crap over there with those people at work, but then come back to each other and be like, girl, let me tell you what he just said. Let me tell you about the dumb stuff he just said. And we talk about it, be mad about it for 5 minutes and then back to business as usual because it rolled off our back. It's because we had each other's back. Like we had our built-in support system. And I think that is what really defined us as a team, the team that we were, and even now, that we still keep in touch with each other and show up for each other. And it makes a difference. It makes a difference. I mean, look how happy you guys were when I surprised y'all with Julie. All this time later. That says a lot.
Julie was awesome.
So
and me
much.
getting to see all of you, very special.
Yes.
It means something. It means something. It means that it was real. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's
It was
something that I
unique.
hold. Yes, unique. That's a perfect way to put it, Julie. It's a perfect way to put it because listen, we only here for, however long we here for. Why not make the best of it in all situations, including work? And
Mhm.
it just, I just love it. I want to know from you guys, like looking back, what was the most, if you can think of one time in particular, even, what was the most rewarding part of working with this team, with this group for you?
Oh, I'll
Gosh.
go first. Because as I'm sitting here talking to y'all, I'm just thinking about the memories that I have with each and every one of you all. And Julie, I remember you telling me to pursue my education, and I think that was how I was, because I hated AP. I had loved y'all, but I just was like, I ain't gonna do this no more. And I remember you telling me to pursue my education. I went back from school, and then I was able to, get blessed with opportunities. So I thank you for that, Amanda. Your strength, I've always admired it, and you remind me of one of the coolest cousins I have, and I love that. And then, more specifically, when I was, you're talking about vulnerability and things like that. But when I was going through my divorce, you guys really rallied around me, and that was so what I needed at the time. And to
Yeah.
say we were just co-workers, and I remember like I had some fun nights in DC. That was one of the funnest times. Julie, we had like 10 shots that night. And then decided to go into a what is those rooms? The escape room.
Karaoke. Oh
And
yeah.
we
Oh yeah.
were
Oh,
so,
No way.
oh gosh.
we were so tipsy, we could not escape. We would still be there to this day.
Uh,
If we
Yeah.
We didn't find any clues.
didn't find out one clue. But
No.
it was just like,
Mm.
you guys, I just remember you weren't even there for me, because I think I was just talking about, we were just, sharing what was going on in life, but I just felt so like enmeshed in like, these are my friends. These are not my
Yeah.
coworkers.
Yeah.
And so that's my
That's
memory.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I love you guys for that, for real.
Well, I have to say he was a fool.
Yeah, he was.
Oh no.
Yeah, he was. Not my rainbow.
true statement.
Sucks to be him.
Wow. Pretty much.
We have a comment from Monique Barnes on Facebook. I have made some amazing friends with women I've worked with. I've also worked with some catty ass women in an all female accounting department. When it's good, it makes work so much more fun. And that's a true statement.
So
Shout out
true.
to Monique. Shout out to Monique.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was good.
Who else? Who wants to go next?
I it's so many. I can't even pick one at this time. But the best memory it's current is to be able to call all you guys my friends. Most of my close knit friends I've met at work, oddly enough, and just the connection. And I just love being able to be my authentic self. I cannot function in a space where I cannot be myself. And I was always allowed to be myself, good, bad, or indifferent. So that's what sticks out the most to me.
I love that.
I
I
love
love
it.
that. What about you,
I-
Heather Feather?
Absolutely concur with everything that was said. It was the being able to call you guys friends, being able to text. I know that we group chat, so we can't always be immediate, but for the most part, we are, good, bad, indifferent, good news, bad news, sharing pictures. Yes, during work, it was a lot. We had fun, we laughed, we joked. I really enjoyed going to the hotels. I enjoyed all of those memories with all of the people that we worked with all the time.
Yeah.
And we could have great lunches and we could have great conversations and we can go, hi, we're AP from the support center.
You hated that.
I hated that so much. Hated it so much. But we don't bite. We're not here to hate you and judge you and be above you. We're working in the trenches with you. What do you guys are worst in the trenches because you have the vendors coming into the lobby and the door and etc. So what can we do? How can we make this work? And then yes, all of the after work activities, the happy hours, the lunches, the escape room, that and the Cadillac Ranch, Amanda's birthday, Tia's wedding party, just all of it. Absolutely. You all came to my wedding reception. I mean, it was yes, that is what builds people up so that they can have the confidence to go and do other things. Because we're at a point where we were all at stepping stones in our world, and we came together and supported and pushed and shoved and go, and you can do, and yes, you've got this. And I think that's all of the memories I have. Definitely, they're all good. I don't remember an argument. I don't remember an issue. I don't remember drama. I don't remember, well, Tia said and Randy said, and well, Heather did this, and Amanda, you're such a no. None of it. Nothing with Julie. No issues. No BS. Like like Tia said, we could be authentic. We could come to anybody with issues, problems. I'm drowning. Help. I'm not drowning. I can help you. What do you need? What's going on? It wasn't. We weren't trying to step on each other because we were all next to each other, and I didn't want Amanda's job.
At all.
Sure enough, did not.
Wow. She made sure to tell me that on a very regular basis.
Sure enough. And I was asked. They asked me if I wanted it, and I turned them down. I said, no, I sure don't.
They have to ask you,
though, Amanda.
Heather, now with your educational background, from a psychological perspective, what's your thought on all of this?
Oh, I can pinpoint some narcissism.
I mean, I'm not looking for an expert opinion.
I was ready. I got comfortable. I was ready for it all.
Where is the popcorn?
Honestly, accounting, especially with what we dealt with, it takes coping skills. It takes techniques. It takes self-awareness to know what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, if you can't handle it, if you don't have the thick skin, if you do have the thick skin, and how to work well with others. De-escalation, conflict resolution,
wow.
All of the psychological terms literally apply, and that's honestly where some of my drive came from, because I could put stuff together and go, this person isn't right. There's something wrong here. This doesn't make sense. Why are you yelling? All the things. And I honestly would love to get more education to be an industrial organizational psychologist to rework our prior companies. I really would. I mean, it takes much more education, and I just can't afford it, but I absolutely would love to rework based on people's talents, their personalities, their skill sets, their weaknesses. How can you balance all of that to make a cohesive unit so it's not top down? It's more of a spherical, we're all working together.
Yeah.
I love that.
Working with y'all is how
There
I
is such a need for that in
It
HR.
is.
There really is.
It really is a need for that.
Well, we're going to speak it into existence that this becomes a thing headed by Heather.
I mean, if I can get rid of some school debt to get more school debt, maybe.
Yeah, why not? Yeah. Julie, do you have any memory you'd like to share? Any favorite thing?
I mean, I remember the times when we could just laugh during some of the most stressful moments. But one thing I want to say is there was no weak link in the group, and that is rare. There was no, but it goes beyond intelligence, motivation, knowledge. We had something special. We had something past all of that comes from inside.
Mm-hmm.
I think we can come up with words, but I think some of it is there's not a word for it of what we had.
Yeah, 100% true.
Yeah.
100% true. I'm going to tell you
It kind
guys.
of reminds me. I never
Oh,
watched the movie, but maybe the Sisters of the Traveling Pants.
oh, the sisterhood of
Love
the
that
traveling pants.
movie.
I've never
Yes.
seen it. I guess we should watch it, huh? It's the
Probably. But
probably a
it's a
really
great,
bad scene.
it's a great
that I'm referring
concept. It's a great concept. It is. Each one of them had a pair of pants that fit them perfectly, even though they were all different shapes, sizes. So
Yeah.
this magical
Wow.
pair of pants fit everybody perfectly, which was
Yes.
amazing. That jeans.
That's
So yeah,
I have a road trip, so I'm gonna download that and watch it this weekend on the road.
I know. I think I better have to bring it.
I love it. I love it. I
I
love
haven't
it.
seen. There's a second one. I missed that one.
Oh yeah, that was a part too.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, I believe all of the actresses that were in it also became best friends after they worked on that movie
Oh,
together. They still,
that's wonderful.
yeah,
That
they
is so
still keep in
wonderful.
touch. I think America is like godmother to Amber's child.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
they still keep in touch because of that movie.
Another example of women being able to work together without being catty.
Catty.
There you go. Yeah.
And there it is.
There it is.
I'm going to tell you guys, for me, there are so many moments, kind of like what each of you said, but what I enjoyed about us was just how creative we were. Like when we would sit down in those, I remember the first time I was like, okay, we're gonna have a team meeting. Y'all were like, a what?
Great. You want to sit with us? You want to
What is
sit
that?
English.
You want to hear all this complaining?
A team meeting? And we would have like, what was it, like the first 10 minutes or what? All right, complaints and grievances, get them out, and then we're gonna get the business. Like maybe like the first 10 or 15 minutes of the meeting, and we'd be like, oh, such and such for such and such hotel. We would talk about whatever thing, right? And I would take notes of those grievances, and then the next meeting I'd come back, okay, this is what I was thinking about what you mentioned about the problem with such and such. And we would put our heads together and we would talk about different ideas to make it work. From there, we came up with the newsletter that we did. What was it, monthly or quarterly? I can't remember when we did the newsletter. I remember when we were like, okay, let's start playing day in the life of. Let's start doing site visits. Let's start doing that. Let's go out there and see why when they're calling us saying, I need it now, when we're there and those vendors are walking through the door screaming and fussing and cussing, now we understand why. Not just because they're just needy, things like that.
The files.
The filing system. There was so much that we did. And again, I go back to Julie because we would sit and we would have these conversations and I'd say, okay, boss, these are some ideas we got. And Julie be like, let's do it. All right, I'll go see it. I'll go make sure with my boss that they're good with the site visits, but I don't see why not. And she came back almost immediately. Yep, let's start doing those site visits. Let's see how it works out. Let's try it. And it worked. And the hotels appreciated because it showed that we actually cared about what they were dealing with, what they were going through, that we wanted to help in any way we could. It allowed us to put a face to the name as opposed to just the name you see on the email all the time. And it's hard when you've met somebody to be like, oh, Heather, she didn't know it all. Or she
That's true.
It's hard when you've actually talked to the person and had an actual connection with them at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Because now when you see an email that says good morning, it's not, oh, there she go talking about good morning again. It's, oh, that's Randy. She always says good morning. You know what I mean? It's just different. And that made a huge difference. We came up with Thea Lara.
I was about to say, what is her name?
Mascot, our AP
superhero.
mascot. I love that.
What was that?
I had given them a task of putting their heads together, coming up with a accounting and AP mascot / superhero. They needed to give her a name. I needed to see what she looked like or it looked like. And then the different powers that it had. And they came back with Thea Lara. She had a cape. Her hair was up in a bun. And And the Thea Lara was a combination of all of their names, and it hit her superpowers were their individual strengths. It was just like coming together like that was super super great for me. I mean, and watching that and watching you grow. One of my absolute favorite things, though, without a doubt, was me learning you all strengths by playing the game. Do you guys remember the game where I said, okay, at the next meeting, bring 5 objects with you?
I hated that game.
Whatever it was, just bring it. Stapler.
Anybody remember what I brought? Because I'm curious.
I remember a bunch of desk items.
A bunch of desk items, but you wanted us to carry them all and not touch in one hand and blindfolded.
And Julie might not remember what I did was like one by one. All right, put everything everybody bought to the middle of the table. I need you to pick up all of these items and you need to hold them all without dropping them for 3 seconds. And it was everybody's stuff, including their stuff. And okay, whoever went first did their thing, right? And then whoever went next could not do it the same way the last person did it. So each time they had to invent another way of doing this task. And the purpose was really just to see how you can be creative on the fly, how you think, how you put things together, and understanding that sometimes you got to carry everybody's load. How graceful can you be doing that? And so, here comes Heather with everything nice, neat, and perfect.
I love that about her.
Yeah.
Yes.
Everything was in a nice, neat Tetris box. And then here comes Tia stuffing stuff down her bra. All this stuff like this.
Get it done.
And meanwhile, with Heather still on her. Okay, but be careful because of the scissors. Turn them to the left. Right? And then here comes Brandy like, well, I guess we're going to do this. And it just showed their personalities, how they look at things, how they look at challenges. It was just such a fun activity. And then afterwards, I was like, okay, what did you get from that activity? Why did we do that activity? Why do you think I did that? And then hearing them try to figure out why I had them do that activity was really fun too. Because you don't like us, and this was your reaction. But it was like doing those sorts of things with you ladies to kind of forget, even if it was just for 15 minutes, the chaos that was on the other side of that door. For me, that was rewarding because what it did was it sent you back to your desk knowing that I've got your back, Julie's got your back, we're supporting you. We might not be able to do anything about this particular situation, but we're in the trenches with you. We're hearing you. We hear the complaints, we hear the challenges that you're dealing with, and we want to make life easier for you any way we can. We know we can't solve it all, but we want to try to solve as much as possible. And I think you guys got that from our time together. And so those are my favorite memories. Those times of just being able to sit with you, put work on the other side of that door, air out whatever grievances we had about work, you know what I mean? Do something fun and creative for a couple of minutes, and then get out there, back to that other side, and kick ass, because that's what you guys did regularly, and with grace. It was just awesome to watch, and that's what I love, and that's what I miss, because I haven't had a team that worked in that way since, very frankly. It's just, I think you guys are right. It was the perfect combination, a perfect chemistry experiment.
The only difference I can say is I currently work somewhere that's woman founded and woman ran CEO. And I will say, though we still have some issues, I will say the tone has been set to be more respectful, more nurturing, and things like that. So I think when you see a woman, get glad. When you see a woman that you're going to be reporting to, for the most part, get happy. And we're doing it. We're doing it better.
Yeah,
I love it.
Give it a try. Give it a try. If you've never had a woman be over you or your manager, supervisor, all the synonyms for a leader, just give it a try. Test it out first. Figure her out. She's figuring you out. Cattiness has no place at the end of the day. Unfortunately, I know that's easier said than done. But that's why we have HR. That's why we have the employee, EOCC, all the alphabets. We have things in place to help support and protect, but try it out first. Give yourself a chance to go, okay, this is cool. This is different. This is a vibe. I got to get used to it. Change is hard. Change is hard with a man coming over, being new leadership.
Yeah, absolutely.
But definitely don't pigeonhole us as a gender that we're automatically catty and coming after you and evil and walk on eggshells and it must be our period. It must be our time of the month. Unnecessary, because you don't know.
That stereotype sucks. That stereotype.
Or we're aggressive instead of assertive.
We're just bitches is what we are. We're just we are, depending, because Amanda absolutely could have been a real bitch, but guess what? I'd rather her be on my back, behind me, supporting me, and be the bitch as opposed to at me. Because I would have been scared. But we have talents. We can be bitches. Mama Bear, hello. But it's for a good reason. It's for a good purpose. It's protecting our own. And I would fight for any of you if anything should come up. Absolutely. Whatever that looks like. May not have to be words. It could be actions. It could be indifference. It could be ignorance. It could be, like Tia said, ignoring the hell out of whoever you are. Ex-husband number 1, 2, 3, or 4.
But it is what it is. Well, no, but thank you for sharing that and saying that, Heather, because that was going to be what I was going to ask you next. You all next is, what advice would you give to someone who is currently in a situation where it is a bit of a catty environment? How would you tell them to navigate around that? Like, any thoughts or pieces of advice that you'd like to give on that?
Well, I would say you gave me some of the most profound advice in my life. Because I think I asked you, what should I do to get to the next level? And you said, get out of my own way. I didn't know what the heck you was talking about. I'm like, I'm the most selfless person. I'll do anything for anybody. But over the years, I've been able to I've taken that and I've held on to it. My advice would be to get out of your own way. Like, a lot of times we have these preconceived notions, and it could be like subconsciously projection of what you are. So you got to self-check and self-reflect, and like, make sure, like, is it them or is it me? And work from there.
I like that. I like that a lot.
That's really good. I like that. It makes me think back when I was in the Army. They transferred me over to battalion. So I was in there with, the sergeant majors, the commanders, and the officers and whatnot. And one of the jobs they had me do is make this humongous urn of coffee every day. And they caught me one day, I was cleaning it. They were like, what are you doing? And I said, oh, I'm cleaning the coffee pot. They're like, no, we have years of, built up on it. So I learned you don't clean the coffee pot. But then they brought in someone who was lower ranked than me. And so their first day, I'm teaching them how to make coffee. And one of the officers said to me, Julie, what are you doing? And I said, I'm teaching our new person how to make the coffee. And he stopped and he thought about it. And then he said, okay. Because they were so used to the woman is making the coffee.
Wow.
But the fact that he thought about it was like, I got to see a lot of that transition during my time. And one of the lieutenants told me when I was getting out of the military, he told me that I changed his way of thinking about women in the military because I was a hard worker.
Mm-hmm.
I was very motivated, I was very professional, and I was not going to let the man work. Work this on their benefit to their benefit. I was going to work it for women. I've always been strong on women's rights. And it pains me to see the things that my daughter has been through. In this day and age, there should be no sexual harassment. And it's not occurring just to women. There's men that are being harassed as well. And it pains me to see that there's some things that are still happening.
Yeah.
And I, hope for continued success in moving that to a better place. Because otherwise, we mothers, I mean, fortunately, when my daughter went through what she did, I was 1,000 miles away because otherwise I would have been marching in that business.
Mm.
But this stuff is still happening, and
Yeah.
I just want to see it improve. Um,
Mm.
so I got to see a lot because I'm older than all of you. I got to really see the discrimination, the sexual harassment, which you wouldn't believe what I've been through, which I won't discuss here. Um, but
Mm.
it has improved. It
Yeah.
has improved. But we have to keep supporting each other. I think that's the main thing is support your fellow female
Mm-hmm.
workers.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be afraid. Don't be competitive. It's not worth it. I mean, we're only on this world for a little time, and what is it all about anyways? Is it really about that title? Is it really about, you know, m- making somebody else look worse so you look better? I just have never really understood that. It, you know, not to be depressing, but when you're on your deathbed, are you going to be thinking about that title? Or are you going to be thinking about all those special times with not just your family, but also your coworkers?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I actually get so excited seeing people that I've worked with advance and maybe not advance. There's some people, they are super happy doing that one thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I I totally embrace that. But for women to be able to support other women, and over the years, I've heard a lot of things from women saying, I believe that men should be leaders. I don't believe in having women as leaders. And I still hear that to this day from some people, my mother
Yeah.
included.
Yeah.
And
That's
but
amazing.
she's from way back. So I don't try to address that with her. I just try to be understanding. Um, but we still have a ways to go. There's
Definitely.
still, yeah, there's still stereotypes about women, and we've worked really hard to prove ourselves, and we just
Mm-hmm.
have to keep fighting for that.
Yeah. And that's honestly why this particular episode is near and dear to my heart because I've been in it on both sides. I've seen it, the cattiness. I have seen what we all have, what it looks like without it, and being able to just support each other, just for the simple fact that we're women and we already are considered the lesser of the two genders, right? So why not do what we can to build each other up and
Hmm.
boost each other, you know? So yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on that, Julie. Randy, what's your piece of advice?
Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry. Um,
Your advice if somebody's watching this and they're currently dealing with a situation of working in a catty environment with other females, what piece of advice would you give them to navigate around that?
hmm. Um, secretly record them and then send it to your manager.
CYA. CYA.
No, I think the advice I get in navigating difficult situations, especially when it comes to gender, I think somebody touched on it a little bit earlier. Like, I think they expect women to endure more mistreatment than they would a man. Like, I think somebody said, if we stand up for ourselves, considered combative versus assertive, but stand up for yourself. I would also take self inventory, because I think sometimes when you are in a catty environment, you start to question yourself, like, is it me? Am I the drama? And it's like, take that self inventory and realize it's not you. I would also try to have a conversation with. I'm very big on like talking things through.
Agreed.
And then lastly, if it doesn't work, leave. Like, leaving is an option,
and it's okay.
And it's okay. You don't have to. I think sometimes as women, especially strong women, or people that really take pride in their strength and their ability to endure or overcome things, you see it as a challenge. But sometimes it's okay to leave. You don't have to prove how strong you are, especially if it's going to corrupt or disrupt your spirit, your self-esteem.
Yep.
You don't have to sacrifice yourself. My mom once said, it is not the Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost, and Randy. And so you do not have to be a martyr.
Yes, Mom. Yes.
Oh, man. That's a good one.
Yeah, so it's okay to give up, really. Like, if it's an impossible situation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love this, ladies. I love this conversation we've been having. I could sit here and talk to you guys forever and be okay with that. But as in all good things, it has to come to an end. So I'm going to leave you all with one last question before we close out today. I'll call you by name. I'll call you out, put you in a hot seat. I want you to tell our audience either your greatest joy or your favorite quote and why it's your favorite quote. Okay? Yeah? All right. Heather, I'm picking on you first.
I would say my greatest joy is that I have overcome so much, and live to tell about it.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I'm with it. Okay.
Yeah.
Julie.
Greatest joy is definitely my faith. My personal quote that I came up with myself is, if I wasn't doing accounting, I would drive a tractor in a big farm field.
I can see that.
Because people would always ask me, Julie, if you were an accountant, what would you do? And I would just laugh and I'd say I'd drive a big tractor.
I want to see that.
I love that.
Yes, please do it.
No technology, big, beautiful. I love nature. And yet I've sat behind a desk for how many days?
Well, we're not talking about that, though. That's okay. That's okay.
We're here to support you.
Yes.
Okay, send me plants. Or better yet, a tractor.
Yeah, tractor. Tractor started. Okay, Randy, greatest joy or favorite quote and why it's your favorite quote?
Ooh. My greatest joy, I'm on the journey to find, to be honest. But I do have great joy in connection. That is like, I just love connecting with people. My favorite quote, I don't necessarily have one. But I saw a quote recently that really helped me. It said, "You're safe. It's just change." And I love that.
Oh, that's awesome. I like that.
I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, Tia.
Um, my greatest joy is life,
Yes.
honestly, because it's like the fear of the unknown and um just the unexpected. And
Mhm.
my favorite quote is um it just happened today, and I'm gonna hold on to it for dear life. Is welcome the unexpected.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
It's a good
Yes.
one.
I
I'm
like
And
with
that.
I
that.
like that because I'm very like by the book. I love structure, organization. It may not look like it, but I live in organized chaos system. But um, it's always like I never, because I had so many traumatic experiences. Change has always been like, sure, well, what's going to happen or what is it, but it's not always as bad as it seems. So I'm going to start welcoming the unexpected.
Hmm. Hmm. That's
Excellent.
awesome. I love it.
Nice.
And I love you, ladies. You guys
I
are
love you
Mhm.
all
a
too.
joy
Love
for
you
All
me.
of you
too.
guys.
You
Well,
guys are so
This
awesome.
was like a early birthday Christmas present getting to see Julie.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
Julie Rogers.
Yes.
I don't know how to do all
Ladies,
that fancy stuff.
I'm going to ask you to sit tight with me for just a few more minutes while I close out the show. Can you guys do that for me, please?
Sure.
Absolutely.
All right, ladies, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I cannot thank you enough. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been Heather, Randy, Tia, and Julie. All right, we are going to close out our show. Couple of housekeeping items for you as we talked about hotels and hospitality industry stuff. Our next episode will be September the 18th, 7 p.m. live. We're going to be talking with three women, business women doing business things. We're going to talk about three women entrepreneurs, and I'm excited to share the stage with them and talk about that very important topic. Also, don't forget, like, share, follow Life Uncensored on Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Spotify. Check us out. Tell your friends, tell your family. All right. If you'd like to be a guest on our show or you have a topic that you'd like for us to discuss, check out that website, life-uncensored.com. That's life-uncensored.com. And fill out the quickie form that says, hey, I want to be a guest, or hey, I have a topic that I think would be interesting to talk about. And also, if you would like to share your ad, you would want us to present your ad during a podcast episode or more than maybe multiple, same thing. Just go to our website, life-uncensored.com, and let it be known. All right. In the meantime, I'm going to leave you with my quote for today. And that quote is very simple. Alone, we can do so little. Together, we can do so much. And that quote comes from Helen Keller. And I think it is the epitome of what we talked about today with my sisters from my work life who are now in my personal life and I love and adore so, so much. All right. So until next time, again, September 18th, we're taking a break next week. So September the 18th, business women doing business things. All right. I want you guys to stay hydrated, stay safe, do something kind for someone. You never know, it might change the world. And also, I just want to keep in the forefront of your minds Mamta Kafli Bhatt. We are still looking for her. 28-year-old woman, first time mother. Her child just turned one just a few short weeks ago. She has gone missing, and we are still looking for her. We want justice for her. All right. So keep her family, her daughter in your thoughts and prayers. All right. Until next time, everybody. See ya.